Hey everyone, good afternoon on the East Coast. Hope everyone's doing great. We're going to have some amazing conversation today with Ilia Markov, marketing director at Toggl. Toggl is a pretty big time tracking application for employees. In this instant, I think for remote employees, I'm not sure. We'll ask Ilia how many of their users are remote employees and how many of them are working from an office setting. But especially post COVID, and looking at RepStack, which is a remote first company, time tracking applications are extremely important to us for the productivity of our people, making a consecutive coaching loop for people. So a lot of stuff. And without any further ado, Ilia, if you want to just quickly make an introduction and tell us about who you are and what you do at Toggl.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Azar, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be with you. So, as you said, like you did a pretty good introduction of me. I lead the marketing team at Toggl. We're a fully remote, been remote for a while, for a long while actually. Company. We're best known for our time tracker, Toggl Track. We actually have two more products. One is Toggl Plan, which is a project management / capacity and utilization management tool. And we also have Toggl Hire, which is a tool that helps companies hire the best talent through hiring tests. I live in Bulgaria, in Sofia. Sofia is my hometown. I was born here. I've lived in a few other places as well, but I always find myself keep coming back to my hometown. And yeah, that's about it. We chatted a bit. I enjoy going on a run, listening to audiobooks. Whenever I can combine the two, I feel really happy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now talking to you, I feel like even though I did my run yesterday, I feel like going on a run after this call. So, who knows where you get inspiration from.
Do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how big is Toggl right now, Ilia? Maybe tell us a little bit about the company that you're working for right now.
So the company is a little over 100 people. As I said, fully remote. It's over 10 years old. Started in Estonia, in Tallinn, as an agency actually, and then scratching their own need sort of thing. The founders started working on a time tracking tool because they realized they need one. And in 2008, during the big recession, they were struggling to get business for the agency. And at that point, they decided to go down the product route, and they never looked back, sort of thing. But being in Tallinn, in Estonia, they realized that they always have a hard time finding the best talent, not because they aren't talented people in Estonia, but because it's the population of the country and the city specifically is not huge. So very early on, they made this strategic decision to kind of open it and hire globally. And when I say that, I mean I've worked for a few different remote companies, but Toggl is by far the most diverse team I've been on. And whenever people ask me what's the best thing about working at Toggl, to me that's the thing. It's just to give an idea, the marketing team, we're 8 people at the moment, and we're spread between Malaysia and Mexico City with people. I'm in Bulgaria. We have people in the UK, in India, in Greece, and so on.
Nice. We got to get some people from Pakistan now.
We do have people from Pakistan on the team, on the Toggl team, just not the marketing team.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are that creates challenges sometimes. So finding a time to meet as a marketing team, everyone, can be challenging. But at the same time, just the breadth and the depth of the perspectives and the knowledge this brings, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Nice. So I think that would be a good question. That how do you guys run? Do you guys run? Because a lot of our agency owners who are listening, they'd be running teams who are remote as well, and some of them are in different time zones. But usually, what happens is that because the owners and bulk of the teams are based out of a particular city, the entire agency of 10, 15, 20 people would follow the East Coast time, for example. So everyone will work there. So does it work similar in at Toggl, or does everyone gets to keep their own time zones?
So internally, we have something that we call raft and rafting. It's an abbreviation, and I'm not sure the people ops team are not going to appreciate this, but I'm not sure what the abbreviation exactly stands for. But the idea is that we focus on results much more than how much you work, when you check in, when you clock out. It doesn't really matter as long as you are hitting results, and like no one on the team is kind of waiting for you, or like you're blocking anyone. You're free to do as you see fit. So we have some people who like to work late in the evening or early in the morning, and that kind of works well with other, with their coworkers whenever they have to collaborate. Another very stark feature of how we work at Toggl is that everyone gets a very large degree of ownership and autonomy, which means that in many cases you can just really set your own agenda and figure out how to work. And it really varies team by team. Naturally, some teams need to collaborate a lot more. So it works. It helps if they are kind of closer together or they have certain overlap. But we see that when you approach it with an open mind, it tends to work quite well.
Yeah, that's a great I think point of view, because many of the people that we work with, including ourselves, we're a 200 people plus company right now, and we run on East Coast hours. Some of our people are even on Pacific times and things like that. But we just thought that it's easier, but it's also difficult on people because our people are having to work nights now, and working nights is it's okay maybe for a little while, but for the long term it could have different effects, right? So but people who do get longer tenures, they do get more flexibility and things like that. But majority of people that I know, just because their clienteles are based out of the US, a big portion of their teams are already over here, just makes sense that we keep these hours. But this is a great way of looking at how you can still do, get the same productivity, but allow more flexibility to your teams.
Yeah, for sure. And admittedly, I think it's a little bit different for a product company compared to a service company.
Yeah.
But then even in service companies, you have this division of the labor, right? You have the people who do the delivery work, but you also have the people who do the account management, client relationships. So you can really have specialization between them, and they can be working depending on how reactive you need to be, or are you working on a project where the client has given you their request, and you kind of have to go back and do the work and then go back to the client, or it's more of a, today I have this idea and I need you to do this for me, so you need to be very reactive to the requests of your clients. It really depends.
So no, that's a great point. I think that would go a long ways for people running remote teams, such a lot of us are these days. My next question is, being the marketing director of a product company, a lot of our clients are also SaaS companies. So they have a software as a solution as well that they're selling. What does what's in your arsenal as a marketing director? What kind of campaigns are you guys running? We're just curious because we're all marketing people. We work with marketing agencies. Our clients are marketing agencies. So we're just curious on what are you running with, on the marketing side?
I don't know if I have any good new things to spill for you, like secrets. We are, to a large degree, we're doing things that everyone else is doing. So generally, the marketing team is split by a channel. So we have like a content, people who deal with the content marketing program. We have like a performance marketing person, community, life cycle. To me, several things which I find important. I think SaaS companies do not do enough with their existing audience, whether that's free users or paid users or however it's set up. So we do place a large importance on what we call lifecycle marketing, which is anything between someone becoming a subscriber to the brand. We have a bunch of different newsletters that people can like get exposed to, and they can become subscribers in several different ways. We have like a webinar series as well for agency owners and operators. You can become a subscriber that way as well. So anyone between that point where they just like becoming aware of the brand and the point where they are paying customers and they're super happy and they're promoting Toggl to their peers. So that's what lifecycle marketing covers for us, and we place very large importance on that because we've had these. So Toggl has been around for a while. The brand is very well known. We have a free plan which creates a very large community. I call it a very generous free plan. So we have many people who have been using Toggl for years and they're very happy with it, and we're happy to have them, of course. So having this community really helps. There's a lot we can do with them from what I call lifecycle marketing point of view, and there's also a lot that we can do with them from a community point of view as well, which is another area where we're focusing. And apart from that, something that I find very important and I've been really pushing forward to develop is this idea of just being leaders, thought leaders in the space that we're in. So kind of, and that starts for us, really starts with talking to our customers, our users, talking to industry experts, having this webinar series, the Toggl Academy that I mentioned, inviting experts on it, and just learning from them, learning from people who run agencies, how they run them, what they're struggling with, what are their challenges. I've been on quite a few podcasts, but every time I use the podcast as an opportunity to learn from the host about, because usually it's like a podcast that it's either someone who runs an agency has a podcast on the side, or someone who's like, they speak to many agency owners and they really know what their challenges are. So we use that as an opportunity to learn, but then we also develop our own thinking about how it should be done, how you can improve your operations, what you need to do, what you need to look at. And of course, at the end of the day, because we hear from many agency owners, for example, that we're just too busy, delivering work for clients to think about the operations of the agency. But that, to me, that always sounds like I'm too busy, pushing a boulder up the hill to kind of come up with the wheel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a tricky one because sometimes it's the question of the resources as well, right? Like, what can I put in towards it? And it's not just the capital, the money that we're looking at, but it's also the time, because a lot of these agency owners are also small operations. If they have to kind of set up a new SOP, it's going to take some time. So I'm just being devil's advocate here. But that's a great point that you brought up, Ilia, that performance marketing. Sorry, not performance marketing. You were talking about reaching out to life cycle marketing, where you're reaching out to people who are already a part of your networks and things like that. And I think we definitely don't do a great job. I know we don't do a good job at that. We're just thinking about starting that out, and we have thousands and thousands of people who subscribe to us in one form or the other, and we have access to this amazing database, but we're really going after that, what do you call that? Instant gratification, right? Like turn this into a call and close the deal. That's what marketing is really focused on. But
Of course, of
this
course.
lifestyle marketing, I think this is a great idea. We're definitely actively thinking about it. So now that you brought it up, we'll definitely put some more fuel on that.
Yeah, and
How?
I
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
understand how agency owners and managers feel, and like especially in this environment, I know it's not easy for anyone.
Hmm.
But we talk to many agencies and many people who run the operations, and what we see consistently is that those who do the best and like it really works for them are those who take the time to really think about setting up their operations and improving their operations along the way. So,
Yeah.
taking time away from delivering client work to work on an SLP might seem like really kind of wasteful thing in the short term, but in the long
Hmm.
term, it definitely puts you in a better place.
What's your clientele? Sounds like that bulk of your clients are agency owners. Can you just maybe give us some top level numbers on what sort of businesses use Toggl?
So we have yes, most of the people who use Toggl are service. We call them knowledge service workers. So it's like people and organizations who deliver their knowledge as a service
Hmm.
for pay. We have like all types of starting from single like freelancers. We have many of those who use Toggl. Quite a few of them paying as well. Like they're happy to pay for the paid version of the product because it gives you many additional features. All the way to very big consultancies and agencies who have like hundreds and even thousands of employees. So
Nice.
anywhere in that spectrum you can find a small 2-person, 5-person, 10-person agency all the way to multiple like hundreds of people.
So wherever it's important to record what you're doing throughout the day, in terms of your work, so that you can have billable hours and things like that. I think what's the essence of Toggl? I know I'm familiar with. I've used Toggl in the past, but I'm also familiar with Time Doctor as an organization. So what are some of the benefits for agency owners? Like, because most of our clients are between 10 and 50 people agencies. So what's the biggest benefit of going with Toggl for their time tracking application for their entire organization?
Uh, there are two really. One is we make it very easy to track your time. And not just track your time, but like add context, which is the second one, which I'll get to in a second. But it's the fact that we make it so easy, so intuitive, really helps with adoption. And we
Hmm.
believe that adoption is critical when it comes to getting the benefits out of time tracking, because we
Hmm.
believe there's benefits for the whole organization, for everyone in the organization, from the founder, manager, owner, all the way to
Hmm.
the employees.
Hmm.
But it's hard to realize though in multiple benefits, not just one, not just getting your time on an invoice. There's more than that.
Hmm.
But to get to that point, you really need to have the adoption, and we
Yeah.
believe ease of use really helps with that. That's the first one. The second one I already kind of mentioned is contextualizing this data. So
Hmm.
yes, very natural. Like I know. Oh, and just as a side note to the first one, I know, like, I definitely drink the Kool-Aid, but even I wouldn't go as far as saying that tracking your time is exciting or anyone enjoys it. Like, I know no one likes it, but you can actually go to Reddit or one of those, and you find like discussions of people talking about time tracking, people saying, yes, time tracking sucks, I don't like it, but Toggl actually makes it bearable. And we've seen
Hmm.
multiple, and I've never seen any other brand mentioned in that vein.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that part. I think that we definitely undervalue, especially in today's economy and the type of jobs that we're doing right now. It may come across that you're being micromanaged, but it's amazing, and it's to a point where we recently, uh, we have a support team, and then we have the bulk of our people work on contracts with other marketing agencies. So we had obviously the people who are going on contracts. We had to track their time, so it wasn't an option. But the support team, which is a good chunk of our team, about 30-35 people, we were immune from that. So we recently actually implemented that. Even my profile is running a time tracking application, because just imagine total number of people, we're just over 200 people. Multiply that by 160 hours a month, and imagine now as a manager or leader that you can get those hours, and you can now see where your people are spending those hours and times and things like that. And now you can take a look at the entire organization with a completely different perspective, and now you know which areas to hit, and then you can also go individually and hit those areas. If somebody's struggling with a particular task, spending a little bit more time, now there's a feedback coaching opportunity for you. And you don't get that in today's world, because we're all remote. You and I are not sitting across the same office where I can see that Ilia might be struggling with working out that new newsletter maybe, and it's taking him a longer than what other employees have been doing it on an average. So what's the point? Let's get in there. Let's use this as a coaching opportunity and up the level of my employees. So like we wouldn't have gotten to a point where we are if we were not doing time tracking from day one. And we've committed all in now to a point where I'm the person running the company. Then we have a few partners. Time Doctor is everywhere now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Time tracking.
And this is also where the second thing I mentioned comes into play. This idea of contextualizing the data that you're creating. Just because time tracking can be done in very simple ways, like you can just jot down numbers on a piece of paper. And a fair number of organizations still use that, whether it's a piece of paper or a spreadsheet in Google Sheets or whatever. But this doesn't give you enough context for different things. Like, for example, just by looking at how much time an employee clocked in today, it doesn't give you that they're struggling with that newsletter, as you mentioned. So this is where the idea of like adding additional information around what they were working on at the exact time, whether it's the project, the client. In Toggl, we have tags, we have different ways to kind of contextualize that data, and this is what allows you to go back, look, and compare. We have an example of someone who's now on the marketing team, who used to work for a large agency where they would do timesheets, and even though they were like doing time tracking, she was doing similar work, similar projects for clients. Whatever they wanted to quote a new client for a similar project, she wouldn't be able to tell how much it takes her on average, because she lacked that context from her time tracking. And this is where it really helps.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I think we're definitely on the same page. We want to be able to track time, and I think Toggl is definitely a cutting edge tool. I haven't seen some of your other tools, but I know I've used it, because it's basically came out of marketing agency trying to solve their own problem. And all we do is we know, like in marketing agencies and SaaS companies and things like that. So that nuance of being a marketing agency is built in, and I think that's part of the reason where you guys don't have that feature of recording screenshots, right? So maybe just touch up on that a little bit. I know it's touchy subject because we a lot of times when time tracking is happening, it does feel like a micromanagement. But I think you guys have kind of stayed away from that because with Toggl, it won't feel like that.
We actually have a very strong position on that. It's actually part of the brand. If you go to our website and you search anti-surveillance statement, we have like a document on why we don't believe in surveillance. I actually have this concept that I speak of, like the 5 steps of how time tracking helps your company. But whenever I speak about that, I always start by just clarifying that for us, surveillance is not a fair use for time tracking because, first of all, it doesn't work. It doesn't get you anywhere. Because if you reduce it to the lowest common denominator, you need to hire one person to oversee every employee. And that's impossible. Like no organization can survive on that. So and if you try to use time tracking as a surveillance mechanism, you destroy all the other potential benefits you can get out of it. Because this is where, like, once you start doing, you see people trying to game the system in different ways. I've heard, and it's not always like people try to put more time than they've worked. I've heard of cases where people actually put less time than they've worked because there's like a limit on how much they can put, and then it creates other problems for the company and yada yada yada. So people would actually kind of put 40 hours for the week, but they've actually worked 50 or 60 or whatever, which is it's just nonsense. It's crazy if you think about it. So we don't really believe in that idea. Toggl is not built for that. We feel very comfortable. Like whenever someone comes to us and they say, "Oh, I want to use this to kind of keep an eye on my team," we feel very comfortable saying to such people that, sorry, but we're not a good fit. Try one of the other solutions on the market. There are solutions which are built for that. At the same time, we very often, I'm like, can't really say what the share is, but very often we hear from people who come in and say, I'm like very comfortable getting Toggl for my team because I can introduce it and like people will know I'm not going to use this to monitor them. On the other hand, of course, like I've heard people who try to use Toggl in that way, and they everyone gets frustrated because they cannot do what they're hoping. They cannot achieve what they're hoping to achieve with Toggl. Their teams get annoyed because they're trying to they're feeling micromanaged. And we get frustrated as well because we don't want people to use Toggl that way.
This is not micromanagement. I think this is a highlight of the tool that you guys have. So I think just for that reason alone, I think a lot of value-based connection would be happening with the type of clients that you guys are working on, because they believe in certain things that you guys believe in, and it's an automatic match. And looks like you guys are natural for marketing agencies and SaaS companies and things like that. So I'm sure this would go along really well. Just my final question. This is a question out of curiosity. How many users are you guys serving right now, approximately?
We have over 5 million signups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's
nice.
As I said, the company has been around for a while. And like the brand is very well known. It's a very quirky brand as well. So
yeah, I was just looking at the website. It looks really sharp, and I can tell by what you mean by quirky, but just by looking at the website, and that came to my mind, right? Like it's cool, it's a little different, it's edgy. So that's awesome. Excellent, Ilia. Thanks for being on the show today. I guess if you guys want to check out Toggl, you can go to just do a quick search on Google, and Toggl will be everywhere, because these guys, director of marketing just told us that, the not just the marketing to the current people that you have access to, but also becoming the experts within the field. And part of the derived results, if I was reading Ilia correctly, is that if you're the expert in your field, then you'll be really great at search engine optimization and all of that stuff as well. which holds true. So these guys are doing amazing on that side. So just look them up. They have a great starting feature at $0, and then you can go up from there. But I think these guys are built for marketing agencies, and that'll be a great tool for your arsenals. We use time tracking for all 200 people, including ourselves, and I highly recommend that every agency gets into that. Thanks for being on the show, Ilia. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed this chat.
Same here. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.